All right, everybody. For the last 10 minutes, I've been sitting here talking to a camera that's not recording. So, rehearsal done. So, basically, what I was talking to myself about this whole time was Hot Rod Power Tour and did I make it? Well, we did. We decided to go last minute, and we had about a week and a half, 2 weeks time frame to get the truck from no interior, wiring not finished, motor hadn't even ran yet, no brakes, no nothing. So, no fuel system, all that stuff wasn't even done. I mean, it was nuts. Anyways, so my wife told me that if we could get the truck done, she would want to go. So in my eyes, that means get the truck done. She wants to go on the Hot Rod Power Tour, so let's do it. Well, 2 weeks goes by, and I mean, we are this freaking close to getting this thing done. Seems like everything in the world was going wrong. I didn't have the right fittings for my brakes. They didn't come in. My dash 3 lines didn't have any male adapters to go into the calipers. I mean, nothing came in. Nothing was right when it did come in. And I don't know if it was just me ordering stuff and just being tired and not ordering the right stuff or what. There was just a miscommunication all across the board between me and the people I was talking to ordering parts and me, mostly me being the problem because I was dead tired. But luckily, I got in touch with a dirt track racer here in town who sells a bunch of fittings and stuff like that. So we were able to get all the fittings I needed last minute, like on Thursday night, Friday morning before Power Tour. And we finally got this thing, all the fittings done, all the brake lines done, all the fuel system done, fuel tank put back in place for the final time. I mean, all the wiring that we needed as an asset to get this thing running done. And we were able to get it to fire up, I believe, I don't know, it was probably like Thursday, I guess. And it ran for about 30 seconds, and then we stopped it because it was open header, didn't want it to learn the wrong stuff on the Holly. And man, let me tell you, open headers on a Gen 3 Hemi is no joke. It is no joke. It is literally, it hurts your chest. But anyways, so Friday, we get it loaded up on my neighbor's trailer, and we go down and we go to an alignment shop, and they did the alignment and they charged the AC on it. Well, the tune was still not good, so they had to sit there and hold the throttle while they were trying to get this dang AC, charged up and all this. So whenever I picked it up, they were like, hey, alignment was good. It was really close, so we only had to change a couple things. And AC, maybe, because we had to keep it running, and we don't really know. We charged it with it 1.8 ounces like we're supposed to, 1 pound, 8 ounces. And mosquitoes are everywhere, just so you know. So that day was the first time I've actually ever driven that thing more than a half of a mile. Because the first time I drove it on Thursday or Friday morning, the drive shaft pinion angle was wrong. The flip kit went too far up, it changed the angle way too much from where I actually had the motor and transmission sitting. So that being said, I drove a half mile down my road and a half mile back. Had to unbolt the rear shackles and rotate the rear end a little bit. And for some reason, it was not grabbing. It kept letting the rear end, letting the pinion go up and down with torque. So had to turn a bolt-in flip kit into a weld-in last minute. And I had to grind powder coat off, and that really upset me because I spent a lot of money getting everything powder coated on this truck. And I don't like grinding fresh powder coat because it should have worked. And if I would have known that it didn't, I would have welded the brackets on before and got everything powder coated. Well, got that fixed at like 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday night, going into Saturday. Saturday, we get the freaking interior slammed together. There's still no dash. There's still not all the wiring in. It was just the bottom half of the seat to get to the dang shop to get the alignment and stuff done because it was on a Friday. I had to get that done that day. And so Saturday, Sunday, we are thrashing to get the interior put in, finish last minute wiring, put phone chargers in, putting the carpet back down, just everything. Fasten the battery back down all the way. getting, all the gauges working with Dakota Digital, and we weren't able to get time to do the GPS speedometer. So the whole time I was using, my Google Maps or a phone speedometer to get speed. And then I figured out what RPMs were what speed, so we just used RPM after that. Well, everything went good on the Power Tour. Had one rear left rotor issue with the brakes, and awesome guys on Power Tour, Kelly and Dewey Speed Shop, and I call him Service Truck. He's got Sally's Speed Shop, and just everybody. Bryce So Cold on YouTube, like all of those guys were there, and they were just as awesome on their YouTube channel as they are in person. They're willing to help. They're willing to just get down, take over, and figure out what's going on. And they had tools. The guy with the Service Truck, man, he's cool as can be. He's got a freaking rad square body service truck, and I'm sure you've seen it. And he's got everything you can imagine on this thing. I mean, it was just cool. But anyways, we got to all of the stops on Power Tour. It went really cool. It was the first time we've ever done it. And we will be back next year. That is for dang sure. And the next year, and the next year, and the next year. And I don't know if you caught on yet, but we're going to go every single year. I don't care what it's going to take. So about day 3 on a Wednesday, I cannot stay away from Facebook Marketplace. That is like my kryptonite, I guess, because every time I do, something bites me in my butt. But I was able to find my dream car. And he had this thing listed for $75,000. And in my mind, that was actually pretty low for what it is. In my mind, I am biased, so I don't know, whatever. So I messaged him, and in his ad, it clearly states he has no want or need to do any trading. And in my mind, I wanted to trade my truck. It was now dependable. I could rely on it. It's got over 1,000 miles on it already, and it's been running for 3 days. And AC and heat, seats are comfortable, suspension's dialed in. It's a freaking rowdy hot rod. I mean, it's rowdy. And it had a trick wiring system in it. So in my mind, I had something that was worth a lot of money because it had a lot of money in parts, good quality parts. Well, I messaged him, got no reply. I didn't get a reply for about 2 weeks. And I messaged him about 2 or 3 times overall. And finally he goes, "Hey man, what do you got?" And I said, "If you would, call me. I want to talk to you on the phone." So we got on the phone, and this was a Saturday. I guess it's July 1st or 2nd. And we start talking about it. I asked him to tell me about his car, because I cared about his car more than I cared about talking about my own. Because I already had mine, so I didn't care. That truck was cool, but it's not my dream vehicle. So in my mind, it was expendable. And so is that, really. I mean, I love hot rods, and I want to build a true blue hot rod, and you don't get much cooler than a chopped 30 Dodge Coupe. But everything in this shop that is mine is expendable for one vehicle. And not very many people get why. A lot of people understand, but to me, there's only one vehicle that I would trade or sell anything I own to get. And I'll let you know what that is in a minute. But this guy has it. It's the color combo I want. There's only 2 colors I care about, and it's green and one other color. And I'm not going to tell you the other color because that's probably going to give it away. So we start talking. He tells me about his car, tells me the story behind it. I fall even more in love with it because it's perfect. It's a perfect car, perfect story for me to be able to carry on further. And hopefully one day my kids carry that on, because this is a car that I do want to keep, and I plan to keep, because there's no amount of money in this world that's going to take this car away from me because of the story, how nice it is to me, how rust-free it is, how well it runs and drives. I mean, it's more comfortable than my 63 Lincoln Continental on air ride. I mean, this thing just eats the road, and I love it. And it's the car that got me into the car world. And yes, I'm going to be cliche, and back in 2001 when I watched the first Fast and Furious, the Dodge Charger made me fall in love with cars. I didn't care for the 70 once I discovered that there was other models that looked just like it, but small differences. And I don't care about motors hanging out of the hood. I don't care about any of that stuff. So if you haven't picked up on it, it's a Dodge Charger. Well, we talk about it, and I let him know what I have, and he wants to talk to his son because him and his son both go in on these hot rods. They have fun with them. They buy them, they sell them, they flip them, enjoy them, drive them, whatever. Do whatever they want. It's their car. And they're not really muscle car people. So they're looking to sell it so they can get into something different and build a few other things. And his son, he does like muscle a little bit. He's got a Dodge Demon with a really rowdy 340, I believe is what he said was in that car. Or a 383, one of the two. And so they were going to sell this and put some money into their other hot rods and put some money into that car and turn it into a nice street car again. Well, and that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to trade, is because he wanted the money for all of that. So kept talking about it, and he goes, okay, let me talk to my son. We'll get back to you. Well, about 2 hours later, I was like, hey, man, I cannot stop thinking about this car. What do I have to do to get this car? And he messaged me back and he said, hey, I talked to my son. We really dig the truck. Is there any way you want to make a deal, that truck and 10 grand? And I said, man, I can't really do 10 grand right now. I said, I've put some money out here recently and I really don't want to spend $10,000 right now. What else can we do? So we talked about it a little bit and we came up with a number we were both happy with. And this is all on Saturday on the 1st. And he goes, okay, let's do it. I'm happy with it. I think the truck's badass. It's rad. You know, I want that truck. And he already knew, of course, I wanted his car. So I said, okay, when do you want to do it? I'm free anytime this weekend, or on July 4th, I'm off. Our office is closed. He goes, well, I'm off on the 4th, and I'll just come to you. And he's out of Houston, man, and that's a 6-hour drive to me, one way. And I was like, I can meet you halfway if you need be. He goes, no, man, it's okay. I'll throw it on the trailer and I'll head up your way on Tuesday. We'll just leave early in the morning. Well, all weekend, I am freaking anxious, and I don't get anxious. It's just not me. And that whole weekend, my stomach was turning. I had butterflies, if you will. Like, it's finally happening. I'm getting the car that I've always wanted. And yes, I've had Chargers. I have. I've had probably 6 or 8 of them. But I've never had the year, the color, the drivetrain, everything that I wanted all in one. I always had to cut them up, put all kinds of Chinese sheet metal on them from front to back. Like, I always had to do something, and I always went overboard because I got so excited, or I wanted to keep up with the Joneses or whatever, and I just could never be true to me. So I told myself, if I can get this car, I'm going to leave it alone, make it nice, make it a nice driver, make it drivable, and something that I can enjoy with my wife and kids. So Tuesday, I am like wanting to throw up all day. He said he's going to be here about 10:30, 10:20 in the morning. And I want to throw up because it's 10:20 and nobody's in my driveway. And I text him, hey man, is everything okay? And he said, yeah, it says about 10:30. Be there at 10:30. I said, okay, cool. You know, just make sure nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. Well, 10:30 comes around, 10:35 comes around, 10:39 comes around. And of course, my stomach is just nodding up because you can't trust people anymore. You know, they'll sit there and yank your chains and tell you they're going to be there, and they don't ever show up, and you're sitting there like a fool. Well, I was sitting in my own house, literally wanting to throw up because I thought he wasn't going to show up. And I was like, man, you know, I thought I had my dream car lined out, and, you know, he's not here. So I call him one more time, and I said, hey man, everything okay? You know, hadn't seen you pull up yet. Did you pull to the wrong house? Did you guys stop somewhere? Whatever. He goes, yeah, man, we had to stop at Home Depot. They had a big parking lot. Just using the bathroom real quick. Be there in 10. We're on Richmond Road. And at that point, I was like, wow, okay. would they really take the time to look up what road I live on and lie to me? So it made me feel so much better. So about 10 minutes later, I walk outside. Nobody's there. I'm getting all, swelled up again, and I get all, down and whatever. And as soon as I turn around to walk back in the house, I hear a freaking truck coming down the road. So I turn around, and sure enough, I see a freaking F-250 pulling my freaking dream car into my gosh dang driveway. And man, all I could do was pull my phone out and record him backing into my driveway. And I was in awe. I mean, I have wanted this car my entire adult and most of my childhood, because in 2001, I'm like 6 years old, okay? Or 5 years old, sorry. And I told myself I would have my first Charger by the time I'm 21 years old. And I did that. I got my first one a month before my 21st birthday. But anyways, so he pulls in, and I have the truck pulled out in the front yard, and I walk up to the Charger. I look at two things. I look at the quarter panels, and I look at the rear corners from the inside. And I look at that, and I said, okay, unstrap it. I want it. He goes, man, you don't want to look at it, you don't want to drive it, you don't want to do nothing, you don't even want to look inside of it, under the hood, nothing? I said, no, sir. I said, this is the car that I want. I don't care if the motor is locked up. I don't care if it blew up on the way onto the trailer. I said, this Charger's staying with me today. So we unstrap it, get it off the trailer. It cranks right up. I let him pull it off because it's the last time he's ever going to get to drive it. And so I go crank the truck, and I pull it behind the Charger, about 15, 20 foot behind it. And they're looking at it, and we're talking about it, and they are excited, and I'm explaining all the wiring harness and how to work it and how to use the iPad and whatever. And fast forward, this car is, come to find out, it is a one owner. It still has the original gold title that has the original loan that's marked off paid from 1970. So it took a little over 2 years, or a little less than 2 years, to pay this car off. And this car is owned by a Navy veteran who bought it when he got home from Vietnam. And me, being a Marine, that was a perfect story for me to be the second owner of this thing. And this thing has build sheet, it has fender tag, all the body numbers are there. There's only two minor spots of rust. And floors are super solid, trunk is solid. I mean, it is just everything that I could ever want in a Charger is, it's perfect. And the only bad spot is on the vinyl top roof next to the back window. And there's a few tears, and it's kind of shrunken in a few spots on the vinyl top. So I will eventually pull that off, fix the soft spot, and get it painted, color match it, and clear coat it. And then I put a vinyl top back on it, because I want this car to be what it was when it came off the lot in 1968. And so that day, it is like 11 whenever they drop it off. By the time they get the truck loaded, it's about 12 o'clock, 12:30, and they're back on the road. And I follow them for about 35 minutes to Atlanta. And where my office is, and I give him a challenge coin to give to his stepson or his girlfriend's son, however you want to say it, because he just graduated Marine Corps boot camp. So I got to drive it, 35 minutes right after I got it. It did great. And then, of course, halfway through, the bottom falls out of the sky. So I'm driving my dream car in rain that I can barely see. And of course, I'm worried because it is everything that I've ever wanted, and it can be taken away in the first hour because of a freaking rainstorm. So we just kept pushing, get to the office, got him his challenge coin. He said his goodbyes, I said mine, and he went about his way, and I headed back to my mother-in-law's house, which is there in town, and we were gonna go watch fireworks that day. So, moral of the story is the car runs and drives great. It looks great. It turns heads. It breaks necks. It drops jaws. Whatever you want to call it. That's what it did all day for the next week whenever I was driving it every single day. I put 490 miles on this car the first week I had it. And right now, I've got the wheels up in the air, and I'm doing a little bit of maintenance on it. It had some exhaust leaks. It had some valve cover oil leaks, and just normal everyday stuff. So while I'm doing this, I start looking for numbers. And lo and behold, this is a numbers matching H code high performance 383 4-barrel car. Automatic on the column. I didn't think I would like the automatic on the column. That's the only discrepancy about it that I thought there was. But after driving it and having a buddy seat and having a nice armrest and not having to worry about shifting gears or my left leg, cramping up in traffic or whatever excuse I want to give today, I love it. It's perfect how it is. And everything works. I mean, the radio works, dome light works, doors shut with one freaking finger, windows roll up with one finger. I mean, trunk closes perfect, hood closes perfect, and it's got the most killer patina on this thing. And it's got a nice set of wheels on it, and I do have, right over here behind these doors, and the original set of 5 original color matched steel wheels with the hubcaps. And to be able to walk in my shop and see this car makes me want to be out here again, because the truck was cool, but it's something I felt like I had to work on because I had so much money invested in it that I had to finish it. And I almost sold it before I got it running. And a guy came out, looked at it, and we were in the, whatever range as far as price goes. And me and him couldn't get the number where I wanted, where he'd be happy finishing it and where I would be happy getting out of it. Which it is what it is. I didn't care. I was going to keep it or I was going to sell it for what I had in it. And that's all I was wanting out of it. So, walking in and out of the shop, it was cool, but it felt like I had to work on it. Not I want to work on it or want to come out and look at it. But this car, I mean, when I turn the lights on in my shop, it makes me smile. When I park it outside my window at my office, it makes me smile. I don't care where it's at. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And I love it. It has dents and dings on it, but I don't care. This car is so damn cool. It's everything I wanted. And another little cool thing about this is on the tail panel, in the pictures, I thought it was just messed up. Thought the paint was faded, thought, dang, I'm gonna have to redo the blackout tail panel. Well, come to find out, it has a freaking mural painted on it from a surfer back in the 70s, whenever everybody was painting murals on cars and all this stuff. And it's a ocean scene with rocks, with the ocean splashing against the rocks. And it was a surfer that did it. And it's signed and everything. And I mean, it's wicked. It looks like it's messed up until I tell you what it is. And then you look at it and you're like, holy crap, that really is a painting. So I'm going to leave that on there. I think it tells us part of the story of this Charger. And I started taking the manifolds off. It has HP manifolds, of course. And I get the passenger side off easy, driver's side, starting from front to back, it's going great. The last bolt, the little through passage of the manifold, the little nipple of it is broke. And it's seized onto the bolt. So And that whole thing right there is just, it's cracked and it's broken, and the manifold's gonna have to be replaced. So I had to cut the manifold in half. And then I had to cut it again long ways to be able to cut that bolt. And that bolt left me about that much sticking out of the head. And I was able to weld a nut on it and get it out, which is cool. That worked out really, really good. But it really sucks that the manifold had to be cut off because it would not come out. It would not unseize. I tried lube, I tried freaking transmission and acetone 50-50 mix. I tried PB Blaster, I tried WD-40, I tried everything. I tried welding a nut on the outside of the freaking bolt. I tried everything. I tried hitting it with a hammer, I tried heating it up, I tried freaking cooling it down with dry ice. Like, I tried every single thing I could think of. So, waiting on a new manifold to come in so I can get this thing back on the road. But reason I say that is because I'm going to show you the car in just a minute, and that's why hood's open, valve covers are off, manifolds are off. Just wanted to do a routine maintenance on it. It had some pretty nasty exhaust leaks, and it's got a little bit of a valve train noise on the passenger side, which it is what it is. I'll get that fixed, and I'll just keep driving it. But I want to do a walk around of this car and show you how freaking thrilled I am to own this thing, because it's finally a car that I'm going to video driving, enjoying, going to car shows, talking to people about it, because everywhere I go, people want to talk about this car. So I just want to share that experience with you guys, because somebody, somewhere out there, somebody wants a car like this, or just any old car, doesn't matter what it is, and they just want the experience of driving it, talking to people about it, and people wanting to talk to you about it. So you're going to get a little bit of a taste of what that is with me, and I will video working on this car a little bit. I don't necessarily know if anybody wants to watch that, so if you want to see me work on the Charger, tell me, because I also have the blue Charger that I'm thinking about video and working on it. If you want to see me work on this car, just tell me in the comments and I'll start videoing it. Because I'm gonna put some new carpet in it, because it's torn up and it's a little old and crusty and all that. And I'm gonna put some new armrest backers, the chrome pieces on, and just a couple minor things. I'm gonna redo the trunk seal, make sure it seals up nice and good, and just do some small stuff like that. The manifolds going back on. I'm gonna recoat the manifolds, and in about a month and a half, the AC system is gonna be here that I ordered today for it. And I'm gonna get that put in and get the AC running. And that way my kids can get in and all that. And I ordered some new seat belts so they all can ride. And just little stuff like that. Just nothing major. I don't wanna cut the car up. And I just wanna leave it how it is. And it's got disc brakes on the front already. I believe they're factory, but I could be wrong. I haven't really taken a really, really close look at it, because I've been worried about other things and just driving it and enjoying it. But I'll shut up now, and I want you to see this car. And there's a fly sitting on my tripod right now with my camera, so we've got a visitor doing a little bit of directing, I guess. But let's walk around this car. So this is the Charger that we're all talking about. Got some rags covering the rockers right now because I've got the valve covers off. But man, this thing is awesome. Windshield wiper, washer, and everything still works. But I do have the fender tag, and this is the first Charger I've ever had that's had the fender tag and build sheet and a title. Everything else has always had something missing, or all of it except for a title or whatever. But it is a factory big block car, as you can see, with the big 26-inch radiator. And I mean, this thing it's killer. It's got some door dings and all of that stuff, just like every other car, but Man, it is sweet. And you will see me next year on Hot Rod Power Tour with this car. So if you see me, let me know that you saw this car on my YouTube channel. This is something I kind of want to do as a hobby. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that want to make this their living, and I've worked at restoration shops, and I found out that working on cars for other people ruins my passion for it. So I only do it for a hobby. I mean, dome light works, off the door switch. I mean, interior looks great. I ordered some more of these. This is what I'm talking about. It's just, they're supposed to have like a chrome finish on them. But I mean, this thing is solid. I mean, it's got tire pressure sticker still on the dang door. Rockers are perfect. I mean, you just can't beat it. I mean, even the dash is still squishy. I mean, it blows my mind of how nice this car is. AC, obviously it's not an AC car. Heater works, defrost works. I mean, all of that stuff works. Radio even works. All the speakers front and back. You know, there's no real bad pieces to the interior. Driver's seat's got a little bit of a rip, but this is the only thing in the interior that's not factory. As you can tell, the little inlays are different on this one. But I mean, it blows my mind. It's got the nice steering wheel. It's not cracked and separated like they usually are. I mean, it's just freaking cool, man. Makes me extremely happy. But check out this door. I mean, you can't beat that. And then it had like an old school alarm system on it, so I thought that was pretty neat. But I mean, it's freaking cool. But let me know what you guys think, man. It's a very, very, very hard to find color in 1968, and being original paint, I think it's cool as hell. And I've got a paintless dent repair guy gonna come out tomorrow, and he's gonna take a look at a few of these. It's beat up quite a bit on this body line. It's probably, I don't know, 8, 10, 15 door dings on this one side for some odd reason. And I'm gonna see if he can get any of it out. But man, this is it. It's a numbers matching, all original Charger with, I mean, literally that little bitty spot of rust right there. It does have a pretty good gash right there. Looks like it hit a rock or something. But one little piece of rust right there, and they had some sealer on here, but it's a little soft right there. But other than that, I mean, it's literally just that one little spot. Everything else is pretty solid still. But I'll take it. I've had much worse. And that car is one of them that is much worse. And that thing it's got freaking inner fender support on that one. Trunk's gonna have to be done. Piece of the back floor is gonna have to be done. And this was a pretty solid one. That's the most solid car I've ever seen before that one. But another thing when I got this Charger, all from the same car, this fender, that door, the hood, this door, and all a full interior, all came with it, and an extra set of doors. And I thought that was cool as shit. Because, I mean, that's a lot of original sheet metal, and they all came off the same car. But those are some of the original wheels, and those will be going back on before too long with some red ring dog dish caps. And sorry about the mess over here. This is all pre-Power Tour thrash mess. But those are the original hubcaps that came on it, but there's only 3 of them. And then this is the original manifold. And that right there might eventually go back on as well. Haven't made up my mind just yet. But I thought that was cool too. But there it is. This is my 68 Dodge Charger in turquoise. And there's that surf Muriel that I'm talking about. Here's some of the rocks and crashing waves with clouds up here, and where Frank Colbert signed it. I mean, I just think that's cool as hell. But yeah, here it is. Back to my roots, back to my bread and butter, and back to where I belong as a car enthusiast and whatever else you want to call me. But yeah, I've even got the original grill logo I'm going to put back on there that the guy had on his desk. And I mean, you don't get much better grill than these right here. Like this right here is just a silver that's chipped, and right there the bucket's open, vacuum operated still. I mean, it's wicked. But yeah, there she is. Goodbye.